Hi, this is the third part. We're going to go into the small knickknacks of shading over here. Really small. Now we're going into small details. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can. So we're going to finesse it. We're going to finesse. We have the general idea. We have the general structure. You pretty much, it reads as a skull already. So at this point, you can just, you're kind of just messing around. You're adding frosting, to the cake, whatever you want to call it. So now what I usually do is I zoom right in, like with my eye, visually on one area, and I try to shape that area out. Like, for example, let's say that is a corner. Let's say that's the corner of the eye, right? I would, when I do these little tiny lines, I want these little tiny lines to wrap around. Does that make sense? Around that form. I'm doing that, but really tiny, everywhere. I want it to, so if let's say it was like that. I want to make my lines follow the form, when I do them really small. That's if you were to zoom way in. I do that everywhere. Just think about that, think about doing that everywhere, because it really does matter, honestly. And so now I'm going in, finessing the eye socket here. I think it looks a little too messy. I'm going to put some halftone, which is just kind of a middle tone. It's not dark, it's not light. And that's something you have to be really careful with, because that's something you definitely have to practice. Because sometimes you're going too dark. You don't know how dark it is, and sometimes it's too light, you can't see it at all. Be more on err more on. If you need to err more on the cautious side. It's better to be too light. So do these tiny lines along the cheekbone here. Trying to follow that along there. So right here, the plane changes. Right? The plane of the skull. So if you think of this the way the skull is right now, and think of it as a cube. So this is the front of the face, and then this is the side of the skull right here. This is where the cheekbone is. So the cheekbone is going back. So that's going to be darker, a lot of this. I'm going to put some halftone on it. So the plane's changing right here. It's going here, then back. So the cheekbone itself, that's going to have a plane change. So I'm going to put that a little more. I'm going to try to make that read as a plane change by putting some halftone over it. Sorry, I'm being a little silent here, but I'm just, this is kind of the stuff where you usually you're in your head, trying to think of very small details. But let me try to finesse it out a little more, putting this whole section back here in more into halftone area. All this is build up. You got to build it up. Don't go away. Especially with a pen. And by the way, I really recommend drawing in pen a lot, because I don't know what it is. It does something to your brain. It kind of tells you that you can't make mistakes. So you start drawing. It does improve your drawing immensely. So definitely do that. If you don't sketch with a pen, start. It's really fun to do. You can sketch in everything, but definitely try pen as well. The eye socket here, there's this little bump kind of below the eye there. You can see that. Little tiny bump. I'm trying really hard not to make it too dark. to make it connect. Oops, see, it went a little too dark up here. You can tell. A little too dark, but it's fine. Alright, so we're going to go into the... by the way, sometimes you don't have to finish every area to completion 100%. The good idea is to take it to a level where it's at least readable, you know, where if you were to leave it, you'd be like, oh, you know, that's okay. You know, sometimes you get bored of one area, so you move around the drawing. I'd move around the drawing very randomly. I want to go to the mouth right now, because I think that's pretty entertaining to do. So, I'm going to add some shadow coming off the... coming off the mouth here. Not the mouth, the nose kind of going down to the mouth. That's already a little too dark right there. I don't like that. So I'm going to try to up the value of other areas to kind of compensate for it. So this. There's all these little slight bumps and stuff all over this guy. I usually draw monsters, so it's kind of hard not to exaggerate certain things. And a monster, you would exaggerate a lot. Cross-hatching a little bit. Making this area go back to space a little. Just finessing. Really finessing. Let's see. Really finessing this area out, because this is also plane. There's just a plane change in here as well. When I say plane change, I mean this thing, the box. There's a change from one plane, the front, to the side. Let's do that whole thing. Sometimes right here, I'm doing it kind of more or less flat. I just want to get some kind of value. Values. When I say value, I mean dark, you know, light to dark. Light, when I say value, maybe, yeah. So, let's see. There's a bump right here, protrusion below the nose cavity as well. As you can see, it totally jumped to a different spot. I was working over there. On this side here, again, there's protrusions. What's this? Alright. This part is definitely on another plane. I'm gonna shade that way in. I'll put halftones definitely over that. You learn to feel things out when you're drawing. Draw from real life medical skulls. You can buy them on the internet pretty easily, but draw from them a lot, because cartoony skulls are good, but the reason the cartoony ones look pretty good are because of people that drew from real skulls. You know, the real skulls is, they're pretty awesome, yeah. Doing the protrusion over here, trying to make it symmetrical on that side, you know, like so it'll match up. It looks like it matches up. Same thing here. Being really, really careful. This is where dexterity comes in. Dexterity is how well you can control your hand, because I'm putting down a lot of little tiny shapes. Sometimes people are too heavy-handed. I mean, that used to be my huge issue. I used to be extremely heavy-handed. That took me forever to get over. I'm probably still a little heavy-handed, as you can see. But get over that. Definitely get over the heavy-handedness. And the only way to get over that, honestly, is to keep drawing. Drawing and then learn from your mistakes, obviously. Get people to look at your drawings. Don't hide them. I don't understand why people hide their drawings. I've heard that before. I think that's crazy. You're supposed to do artwork your artwork's meant to be shown. So definitely show it and get feedback, even from non-artists. Non-artists sometimes don't know exactly what's wrong. They still get an idea, though. They still kind of can say, oh, that looks weird or something. You know what I mean? But seek the advice of, like, better artists, or even just people who do art. Artists in general are pretty, even if they can't do it, they're pretty intuitive. I'm going down to the chin, trying to round that out a little bit, trying to throw some dimension into that. Alright, let's see. That's looking okay. I'm going to go up into the other cheekbone over here. Doing more halftone as well. I hope this is kind of helping you out. I don't really know if it's helping. This is just the thought process that I go through. So I hope somebody's getting something out of this. And same thing, rounding out the cheekbone area with kind of a halftone. There's a kind of a slope here. I'm trying to do that. Oh, every now and then, like I said, the buildup of ink, I do this, boom, just to kind of get rid of this ink buildup, or else it'll just come out a big blotch on your page. So be careful with that. Trying to mess with that edge again there. Alright. Going back over here. Continuously messing with the lines, trying to make them read better. You're doing that everywhere at all times pretty much. You're just trying to consistently fix, you know. And I want to go into the forehead. So forehead's kind of interesting. It's a huge empty area, but you can still go into it. And just kind of a circular area, the front plane. So I'm gonna try to make this look like it's rounding out over here. Let's see. The forehead's going to be probably the lightest area of the drawing anyway, because usually when you treat an object, any object, usually it's a good idea to treat it the way you would treat a sphere, where the darkest area would be around the bottom, you know, and since the light's coming from above, the lightest would be up here on top. So I'm kind of treating that like I'm trying to treating this in that way as well. Looks like my time is running out, so I'm gonna have to do this in the next video. It's gonna be a two-parter, I guess. This last part, or I guess 4-parter. But I mean this specific shading part. So I'm gonna continue this in the next video. So please watch the next video so I can do the forehead and try to really complete it.